We're back on the Scare Value podcast. Pete, it is immediately after we just recorded the last episode.
Yeah, I remembered my new secret.
Oh, no.
My real secret.
Okay.
Pop secret is new.
Oh.
That was my secret, but you distracted me with stories I've already told with your devious talk and your wicked ways, sir.
It's funny because in between you said your secret was you'd never seen The Godfather 2. So you've come for the third secret.
I never said that. How did you know? How did you know my secret?
Pete, what did we watch this week?
We watched...
Is that an official cough? Do I have to edit that one? I can't edit.
No, goddamn it, because now I think we saw The Godfather 2, but I've never seen that movie.
We saw a similarly done thing.
Oh, right. It was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
A sequel to a masterpiece.
That is the second worst movie I've ever seen.
Oh, boy.
Behind Megan. So that's what we're working with. And you got to understand.
I like, in your brain, I can see the little gears turning. And you started that sentence, and you were going to say behind the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then you had a fight in your head. I could see the little hamsters fighting each other in their wheels. And you said, but I hate Megan more. And you went with Megan, and then you laughed and smiled because you wanted to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I did.
But you were like, but reality took hold, and you were like, I hate Megan.
I like dunking on Megan a lot.
I know.
I really do. But the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is pretty bad.
It's not.
It is.
But
so
continue.
Then we get to Poltergeist, which is the pinnacle of horror, and that is also Tobe Hooper. And in between, he has the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Spelled differently.
Is it?
Well, the first movie, famously for reasons nobody can explain to me, chainsaw is 2 words. But he returns for the sequel, and he makes chainsaw 1 word. I guess he learned how the word was spelled in between.
Okay. I didn't know either of those facts. I would have accepted either way to spell chainsaw because it's a chainsaw. I get it. I've used one before. I know my way around one. I do well in a zombie movie. That's what I'm telling you. What was I talking about?
You were giving me gripes about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Okay. Well, it's a follow-up to part 1. And part 1 had its... what do people think about this movie, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
I don't know.
Really?
It's not a movie people talk about a lot.
No
it's an
kidding.
oddity.
Because there weren't people really at the theater.
No.
And, okay, what's your opinion on it?
I don't think there's ever been 2 good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. That has always been my opinion. This is the one I respect the most for trying something different than the rest of them all try.
Okay. I can see your point of view. And, it might surprise you to learn that I have the exact same viewpoint.
Yeah.
I believe there was only one good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Oh, no.
And it was part 2.
Oh, you like this one?
This movie was amazing. Imagine the surprise on my face when I sat down for part 2 and immediately fell in love with it.
This movie is wild. And I like I said, I want to make clear, I respect the hell out of this movie. I don't think it's good, but I respect that it's there.
What are you talking about? It takes the good parts of the first movie, which was like the crazy fun family, where like they're doing like a dinner scene and Leatherface is the mom and the crazy guy, I can't remember his name, Grandpa or Brother Joe or the mechanic or the hell was his name?
The original movie, there was the cook.
The cook.
There was the hitchhiker.
The hitchhiker.
Leatherface. And there's Grandpa.
Leatherface. Yes, and Grandpa. That's right. Those were my guys. And it was funny. All their interactions in the house, but it wasn't like played up. And
this movie makes an entire meal out of, look what your brother did to the door, which is, we talked about the first movie, is the best part of that movie.
That's 100% right. That's what this movie is. I was trying to figure out what it was that I liked so much about it. That's exactly what this movie is.
It takes
it's
that
great.
moment and says, what if? It's the whole movie.
Oh boy, this is a what if that I'm so happy we explored. We start off with, how does it even start? It's the people, the radio, you're at a radio station with a DJ.
It starts off with 2 80s bros driving down the street. The 80s and are invading Texas, and they're immediately dispatched by Leatherface.
On air.
In one of the coolest reveals, because he has a corpse in front of him. And then that head gets knocked off, and then you get Leatherface's head. And I gotta be honest, that's fucking cool.
Right? There was a lot of cool things happening in this movie.
I don't disagree. I'm not going to disagree with that. I just don't think the movie's good. But I don't disagree that there's a lot of fun to be had.
I think this movie, I think the story is better than part 1.
This is I'm mad at you now. Like, I'm mad at you. I'm mad. I haven't been mad at you in 30 years. We are fighting now. This is a fight. I am mad at you.
I'm genuinely confused as to what you fail to grasp here. You know horror inside and out. You analyze these things for funsies, and you're like, I don't get it. What?
I understand this is more your mentality because it's a breathlessly paced movie with no wasted time.
I do like a tight 90.
It is madness.
Yes.
From the perspective of mad people, which works.
Yes.
I don't like you very much right now because the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We'll rehash that when the time comes.
Ugh. There's nothing to rehash. You have a really cool family and a bunch of losers come stumbling in where they don't belong, and they're just bothering a guy trying to do stuff. And you know what happened? I'm kind of glad they did that, Brian, because what happened is now those people had to leave, and they had to go out into the world, and they started entering chili competitions and winning first prize in their chili. Guess what the meat was, Brian?
Let's do I know what the meat was because I told you in the first one that they're cannibals and they eat. Now, we learned in this movie that the cook's name is Drayton Sawyer, and it's the Sawyer family.
Okay.
And we officially learned, because we couldn't figure it out in the first one, he's the older brother.
I think that's what we decided. He had older brother vibes.
In this movie, it's clear. But in the first movie, he definitely has dad vibes. Because what older brother says to another brother, look what your brother did to the door? It doesn't make sense.
Oh, see, that worked for me because that's something like an older sibling who has a responsibility would say, true. Like just that's aping true. Their superiors.
I'm going to do some plot.
Okay.
We're going to talk about the plot of this movie. And you can bust in with your thoughts on each thing.
All right. We're talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, numero dos.
Yes.
Henceforth known as the good one.
It begins like the first one. With
the bad one.
It begins with a voiceover narration, not by John Larroquette.
Yeah, I found out he got paid in weed for the first movie.
Yes. But he didn't get paid in this one because he's not in it.
That's too bad.
He came back into the remake and he did the sequel to the remake, but he was not in this one. It's immediately annoying to me that's not John Larroquette.
Who was the voice guy?
Don't know.
Me neither.
But it's not John Larroquette.
I wish someone did credit checks who could have checked this for us.
The 80s invade Texas, and Leatherface immediately dispatches two 80s bros on the road.
Yep, awesome.
And they are full-on 80s bros. They've got a car phone.
The car phone the size of a shoebox.
Drinking.
While they drive, and they're calling a call-in DJ radio show. Yeah. Not DJ Tanner. And I know what you're thinking.
Apparently, the DJ does not know how to hang up a phone.
No. She keeps telling her producer guy, what was his name? Like AJ or JD or JL like that, or LP? LP, LG. I think. LG. No, it's an LP. He was a record.
It was LG.
And he worked at a record place. Mm-hmm. Radio, I believe they were called back then.
Yeah, I guess phones worked differently than I understand them even now while I'm here because she can't hang up the phone on them. She
right. No, that was it. That was the...
Seems like a flaw in the radio system.
I was about to say that's probably the only dig or knock I can have on this movie, having watched it. It's that it's a little unbelievable that she does not know how to hang up a phone as a radio DJ. So it was a bit of a stretch.
Ooh, stretch.
Because that was her name. Yes. You see what I did there?
Well...
I didn't do that on purpose, Brian. I forgot her name.
They end up on, I have no doubt about that. They end up on the longest bridge in the history of the world, despite the fact we can see from some shots it's a very short bridge. But they continue to battle down this long bridge. And then when the whole thing happens, so for some reason, it seems to happen in the middle of the bridge, but the car ends up on the other side of the bridge. So I don't know what was going on with the physics in this world.
Leatherface
physics, yep.
He hit him so hard with the chainsaw that the car just flips.
And then Dennis Hopper shows up as Lieutenant Lefty.
Who is the uncle of...
Sally Hyde Franklin Hardesty.
Yeah, Franklin was the kid in the wheelchair.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's who it was.
Yeah.
And I was confirmed...
It gets confirmed later.
It gets confirmed.
Amazing fashion.
When they find his wheelchair with the skeleton. I'm like, that's another great thing. Look at that. You even laughed. You know it's good.
I didn't deny that.
But... I like that after Sally Hardesty escapes, she goes into a coma that's it. She's just been traumatized to the point of catatonia. Yep. No, Catalonia. That's an island, I think. Also a salad dressing.
Stretch hears all of this on the phone, the murder on the phone, and she goes to Lieutenant Lefty.
Who is independently seeking this out, this string of murders that have been happening all throughout Texas.
For revenge. Well, they're leaving a trail of bodies while Drayton Sawyer is winning chili cook-offs.
He sure is. Comedy go. He's so happy and so folksy and so friendly. And you know what? He's got a real bumbling, earnest, like Ernest Goes to Camp kind of energy going for him.
Ernest goes to the chili cook-off.
Ernest goes to the... Ernest has a cannibal feast.
Ernest went to Africa once. I think that was probably a bad idea.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Shut
Ernest Goes to
the
Africa.
front door. I remember he went to jail and he was scared stupid. Those are the only ones I remember.
Those are the only ones I remember too.
Yeah. He's like,
So Stretch plays the tape on the radio at Lefty's behest, even though she'll get in trouble for it. And she never really gets in trouble for it.
Well, no, because she's immediately attacked by the...
Not in trouble at work. She gets in trouble because Drayton calls Leatherface and his brother Chop Top.
Drayton driving home in his after winning his competition in whatever the catering service truck that he has. So
Yes, and he keeps that energy, that look what your brother did to the door energy, while he's alone in the car. He's just driving down the road going, I love the radio. I love chili. I love winning awards. I understand.
As one does.
Yes, as one does. No, Chop Top was not in the original movie.
no, I thought that he was the hitchhiker sprung back to life again for a while.
No, he's the hitchhiker's twin brother.
Oh, okay. That's
He
good to
was,
know.
although he's played by a different actor. This is Bill Moseley, who
yeah.
you may know
As
from...
Bill and Ted.
Nope, he was one of the Deadites in Army of Darkness. He was like the lead one that wasn't Bruce Campbell in the end of the movie.
There was a Deadite? I don't remember. How do I not know of Army of Darkness?
When they get into the war at the end, and there's the evil Bruce Campbell who's leading the thing,
Yep.
Bill Moseley plays like the next one
Oh.
on the chain of command.
Okay. So basically, it was the guy, the Deadite standing next to Bruce Campbell, Deadite.
Do you think, not Evil Ash, he's the Deadite captain who's under Evil Ash. Do you think we can get
Probably
home
not.
by ingesting the correct number of drops of a magic potion?
Brian, if we had such a potion, I am powerful afeared that my fate would be the same fate that Bruce Campbell suffered in Army of Darkness, the
director's
original
cut.
director's cut, where he can't count to 5 and sleeps too long.
Yes. He gets distracted. He's an easily distracted person.
With me, it would be the counting. I'd get tripped over the counting so quick.
No, Chop Top wasn't in the original movie because he was in Vietnam. I
I never saw that one.
find it fascinating that the Sawyers adhere to the draft.
Oh, that was his. Was this all in the movie and I didn't see this?
Yeah, he was in Vietnam. He's got a metal plate in his head from Vietnam.
I just thought he had a metal plate in his head for fashion.
No, I guess he could have just signed up for it because they're
What?
crazy and stuff. But I feel like he got drafted and they're like, ah, shit.
Where? How do we know he was in Vietnam?
They said it in the movie.
I just watched this movie. They did not say that.
I'm pretty sure they said it in the movie.
Maybe I was just having so much fun
Yeah,
laughing.
because
I
that's
missed
why he
it.
wasn't around in the first one. He was at the war, and
I
that's
missed
the war
all
that
of
was
that.
going on. Leatherface, he takes a little bit of a shine to our Stretch, and he uses his chainsaw as a penis.
As one does.
Yeah, and this is an extension of the Leatherface that we see in that moment in the original where he's now killed his third person because they keep coming into his home, and he's sitting there unsure of what to do in the world and unsure of who he is. And I enjoyed that part of this movie a lot, that there's still some of that in there.
Well, yes, these were all the parts in the first movie that were great, but we got this needless time spent with these annoying people who I just, if they had left everyone alone, it would have worked out. This is what I wanted in part 1. I wanted more family.
Sure. But you have to admit, Leatherface's dance moves are not nearly as good in this movie as they were in the first one. He mostly just holds up the chainsaw and shimmies back and forth.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Was there a different Leatherface, you
Yes.
say? Okay.
Yes. So Lefty...
That's why.
Lefty uses Stretch to find the family and then fails to save her.
He uses her as bait.
He uses her as bait, and he tries to pull her out of a hole with a skeleton hand that breaks.
And he seems to... First off, you're... All right, go on. Keep going. Give me a rehash.
She tumbles down to the family lair. Lefty brings his chainsaw in and tries to take the place down by cutting down all of the support beams.
Yes. So I assume now I'm really quick thinking his plan when he got into what it seemed like a giant mine of some sort. His plan was just immediately start cutting down. Oh,
No, it's mine. Continue.
I saw the movie Enemy Mine right about now. I was in 2nd grade.
Right about now.
The Funk Soul Brother.
Check it out now.
I don't know any other
I
lines.
think it's just Funk Soul Brother again.
Okay. Back in the day where we are now, I was having a conversation with you, but then I forgot what we were
Lefty's
talking.
trying to take the place down with his chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. That was his plan. His plan was to immediately start cutting down all the supports. Hasn't looked for anybody. He's like, I'll just start chopping things down with me inside of it.
No, Leatherface is attracted to Stretch, so he tries to help her in Leatherface ways by putting the face of her colleague onto her so she can hide out. And then he dances with her, and then he runs away. He ties her up first, though. And the face belongs to LG, who is still alive without a face. So he saves Stretch, and then he dies, and she puts his face back on him.
And then she says she loved him.
Yeah, it was weird.
Which was a weird little romance subplot that I guess it was kind of there, but not. It was a weird relationship. He built her a French fry log cabin.
Well,
A French fry log cabin.
Franklin makes an appearance.
Yes, he did.
This skeleton in his wheelchair.
In a wheelchair. He was very annoying in part one, so I was happy to see him again.
He was still holding his flashlight.
I don't remember the flashlight from part one.
Oh, it was one of
his
the big
thing?
arguments they had about who was going to hold the flashlight.
Good for him.
And he's still holding it. And then Lefty tries to have an emotional moment with the corpse. It is wild. They catch Stretch, and they do the dinner table over again.
Yep.
Not nearly as good.
What? There's way more interactions, and it's a lot more fun.
Well, Grandpa's still there,
I know.
and he's still bad with a hammer.
Yep.
There's the same flaw in the family's plan. They do not learn.
Which makes me wonder how they had such success for years and years across Texas and winning all these competitions if their plan hinges on the old man hitting someone with a hammer.
They just get real excited about him holding that hammer, and he cannot do it. Lefty saves her, and then we have a pre-Mandy chainsaw battle.
Yes, and it was a slapstick chainsaw battle.
And the hitchhiker, like Franklin, makes an appearance with his corpse.
When was that?
It's at the end of the movie, in the climax.
Yeah, but I'm specifically asking you when because I don't remember when we saw it. Where was it?
I think Lefty runs or Stretch. One of them runs into it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't notice that one, so sorry, hitchhiker, with your flat head.
The cook blows them all up, killing everyone but Stretch and Chop Top. And Grandpa throws his hammer and hits Leatherface, who saw then hits the cook, who drops the grenade. It is a mousetrap of nonsense.
First off, the cook was hiding under the floor.
Yes.
Because he had been stabbed in the butt with Dennis Hopper's chainsaw to begin with.
Yes.
And then he got stabbed in the butt again, and that's what caused him to drop the chainsaw or the grenade.
It is... I could never get that game Mousetrap to work, but they got it to play out this time. Now, Chop Top is left, and he fights with Stretch. Stretch chainsaws him, and he falls to presumably his death, and then Stretch does the chainsaw dance of victory.
On top of Penis Mountain.
Yes. Also not as good a dancer as Leatherface was in the first one.
I made a little mental note.
I was surprised.
Leatherface had the moves, but she did the dance, and pretty tight, pretty solid. That final fight was great.
The movie's wild.
What is your problem? Everything you said that was wild, that was great, that was awesome. You're right, Pete. I don't know what I was thinking. Part one is the bad one. That's what you just said.
This movie's a lot.
Yes.
It's a lot to take.
And you can't grasp it all in one go? Is that what's happening here? I understand. There's a lot of subtle text going on beneath.
Oh yes, this movie is subtlety. Right from the pop collar 80s guys getting destroyed by Texas. It is definitely a
chainsaw car battle.
It's a tough one to follow. Now, I think Chop Top is super annoying.
I don't know. That's a good point you bring up. I'm trying to think of him vis-a-vis the hitchhiker.
Because he's menacing. Chop Top's not menacing. He's just crazy.
Yeah.
And the hitchhiker was dangerous. And I think Bill Moseley's a better actor than the hitchhiker was. But the hitchhiker, I totally bought that he's just fucking nuts. With Chop Top, it's like you're trying real hard to be nuts, and there's too much going on here. Drayton is perfect at it.
Drayton is
the cook. He's perfect at it.
Of course he is.
And then I watched Chop Top, and I'm like, if I was Drayton, I'd be fucking annoyed with you two losers too, because you can't do anything right, neither of you.
Right.
And I guess this is a movie where I'm just supposed to feel sorry for Drayton.
Well, yeah, he was a sympathetic character here.
Yeah.
And to your point about the hitchhiker being menacing, it's because he was boring and there was not a lot happening. And now we get just the crazy guy who's fun. I like the crazy fun. I don't like
this movie's made all out of the crazy fun.
Yes.
Like I said, it's an entire 90-minute movie about look what your brother did to the door.
And How this is one of those rare instances where the sequel is superior to
It's nonsense. I'm going to fight you.
I really am confused. I can't believe that other people are not on board with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
I mean, this is generally ranked number 2 on the list of Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies because it gets
number 2 on the Toby Hooper movie list.
It is tough sledding from here in this franchise, let me tell you.
Well, this is the pinnacle. It's like I said. This is a Gremlins 2.
Just please stop saying
This is a Gremlins 2 if part 1 had been awful.
Please stop saying this. please stop making me dislike you.
But everything you had said is an argument in favor of this movie. It offers everything that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre just hinted at. I think because they had a really good budget for this one. You could tell by all the practical effects.
Okay, let's go with that. I think the hinting at it makes for a far superior movie.
We have the evidence to the contrary.
No, we don't. We have now positives. This movie is all about the excess.
You can stop at
of
this
the
movie.
80s.
This movie.
All about the excess of the 80s. It takes the minimalism of the first half of Texas Chainsaw Massacre and what they could accomplish in the second half. And it says, what if we just did all the cocaine and did this nuts?
Right.
So I appreciate that for its time and place in the 80s. It is a pure 80s movie. The poster for this is a recreation of the poster of The Breakfast Club.
I know, I saw that, and that's funny to me.
The movie is, like I said, it's a proto Gremlins 2. It's I'm taking my property, I'll come back, but I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to with it, and it's not going to be what you expect.
Do you think that he wanted part 1 to be a funny movie? And
part 1 is a funny movie.
Yeah, but people don't take it that way, right? Like people are, at least everyone I know, including you, are like, oh, it's the start of all of these different things and tropes that we have. But I don't hear anyone go, you know what? It's a really funny movie.
We had a whole podcast where we discussed that it was funny, and you were surprised to learn that it was meant to be funny when you were laughing at it. And I was like, yes.
Well, I'm glad he decided to do it better.
The grandfather holding the hammer in the first one is meant to be funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But those were just a tiny little part. And now we're not.
Okay, let's get into the things. Leatherface is better in 1 than he is in 2.
No.
No, 100%.
No. Aside from dancing ability, no.
Dancing ability, sure.
Yes.
But he's a much more interesting character in 1 to me than he is in 2. Because he's the bullying stuff works better in 1 than it does in 2. Because in 2, he's got 2 idiots to yell at. In 1, it's mostly just Leatherface because the hitchhiker doesn't show up again until the end. Now, I like the hitchhiker better than Chop Top.
Ugh.
I know that you hate her. Sally Hardesty is a better final girl than Stretch.
Stretch did the dance. She was so victorious that she took over. She's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre now.
We've discussed this before. That Sally Hardesty is one of the most interesting final girls in horror because she never fights back.
No, because she runs. That's why you think she's...
I love it.
All she ever does is run.
Yeah, and scream. And that's why you don't like her.
Yeah, that took up way too much screen time. We could have spent it with the family. Hey, remember that movie that it was supposed to come out? It came out or something before we left the future times, and it was from the point of view of the killer.
Yeah, In a Violent Nature.
Yeah. I wish we had a movie that was like that for these guys.
We do. It's called Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
No, but the whole time.
Oh,
I don't need to see her and LP.
Lefty,
I don't need
LG.
No, Lefty was great though. Dennis Hopper coming in when he was buying the chainsaws at the chainsaw store. Telling me he's got the big chainsaw for the long distance stabbing, and then he's got the 2 handhelds for close in fighting.
Yes, he was dual wielding.
And Leatherface had a chainsaw in his stomach and in his hands, and he was fighting with them.
His chainsaw undoes everybody. It gets the cook, and that's why he drops the bomb.
That's great.
And it ends up getting Chop Top in the end, too.
Oh, yeah, right. Because he falls down, too.
More like Chop Middle.
Mm-hmm. Chopped in half. Chopping beans. Chopping logs.
I'm not surprised you like this movie. I'm offended that you hate the first one. I remain annoyed by that. But this movie is more your style, I suppose.
I think it should be everybody's style. This one just makes sense.
It's loud.
All the characters.
Is that a fair assessment of this movie?
All the characters are likable.
All the characters are like Chop Top.
Chop Top is great. He's just there being silly. Remember when he came to the record theater place? What are those called again? DJ booths?
Yes. DJ booths.
When they go to those DJ booths, and he's like, hey, I'm just hanging out. And she kept saying, you got to leave. I don't know how to work my phones. And I guess we turn off the radio station at midnight, but sometimes we stay on all night because I said that in the movie that we stayed on all night and we're going to play it.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there.
She's not that good at her job.
No, she wasn't.
She's good at killing chop tops, but she's not that good at her job.
Yeah, she didn't really kill anyone else, did she? That was all Dennis Hopper.
No, it was all accidental. Like, oh no,
Oh, yeah.
say that again. Sawyer basically, Drayton actually kills everybody with a grenade. And it's accidental.
But the entire time, too, he's cheerful and he's still having fun. He's not like, oh no, I've been stabbed. It's a Looney Tunes style.
It is a very Looney Tunes movie, and he's underneath that thing just like yelling about like, I gotta do everything myself. And it's like, listen, I like Drayton a lot.
I think at one point he was
He's the only
saying,
person that really comes back for this movie.
I think he said this chainsaw wound to the butt helped fix up a problem with his back.
Yeah, yeah.
He's kind of just cheerful about things.
Yeah, he's the only two movies I've ever seen this guy in, and he's the highlight of both of them. Maybe.
All right, well, we're going to have to disagree. I don't think there's a way you understand the first movie at all. And you fail clearly to understand why part 2 is better. I don't know what your disconnect is, but it's weird. It's a strange thing for you who is so well versed in horror to have, but there we go. That's where we find ourselves.
What do you think of this specifically as a sequel to the original, which is doing a very specific thing? And then you get this that is, it's colorful, whereas the last one was much more faded out. It's completely excess, whereas the last one was the opposite. It's completely wild that these are the same franchise of movie 1 and movie 2. It's stark, the difference between these two things.
What do I think about
it
being a direct sequel?
What would you think maybe a sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre would look like? And then, because this isn't it.
No, what I think is this is a chance for a director to make the movie he wants, but make it right. Like he had budget constraints or, whatever. He couldn't do what he wanted to do. And now...
I thought you were going to say to right the wrongs.
Well, that's kind of what it is. It's to fix everything that he couldn't do the first time. Like this is the story he wanted to tell, but he wasn't able to because he didn't have access to all those sets and all those, like those cool car chases and stuff. So he just did what he could. And then when he got the chance for a sequel, he's like, all right, now I can remake this. It's basically a remake, but not 30 years after.
That's really my point, though. Like, nothing about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's a legacy remake, Brian.
Nothing about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre screams, we need car chases. And
that's because he couldn't afford it. He wasn't allowed to do those things when they made the original one. They paid people in marijuana.
Pete, we got a rare triple fail here. Minority Report. Fail. Boob Report. Fail. 80s butt shot. Fail. Now, I do want to say this, though. The 80s butt shot, we call it the 80s butt shot because it appears in so many of these movies. It actually originated, like many things did, in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when the girl gets up to find her boyfriend in the house and the camera just frames her butt as she walks in. And so that's another thing we got to credit Tobe Hooper with. But he doesn't go back to the butt shot in this movie.
No, because he doesn't need to. That's how much...
Everyone needs to.
No. He's evolving because he's going to get to poltergeist levels. He's evolving, and he knows he doesn't have to go back to that old, what is it, the one trick pony? He doesn't need that pony anymore. He's moving on. He's moving up, possibly to the east side. I don't know where Poltergeist was filmed. Oh,
he's moving on up?
He's moving on up. It's California, so it's the west side. That's where Poltergeist takes place, I believe.
I believe it takes place on an Indian burial ground.
It takes place on a Native American burial ground.
You move the headstones, but you never move the bodies.
They were real bodies. There were real bodies in this one, too, I heard.
Is that right?
No, actually, that was part 1.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that opening scene had real bodies and such.
Right, yeah.
But I guess, see, again, evolving. He doesn't need to do it, but then he's like, you know what? I do need to do it because it was a really good trick, so we're going to bring it back for Poltergeist. So see, he evolved past it and then evolved into it again. That's film. Who else can do that? Name me one director.
That could evolve as a filmmaker?
Yes.
Nope, no one's ever done it.
Nope, not the level he did from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to Poltergeist. That is at least. We keep talking about how Jordan Peele improves like astronomically and exponentially between each film that he does.
So there's your example then?
Yeah, he's got nothing. Nothing on Tobe Hooper.
You know what I was thinking about was M. Night Shyamalan, who has the most interesting maybe ups and downs of a director.
Explain yourself.
Sixth Sense is great.
Is
Giant hit. Yeah, it's great. It's got some great horror imagery. Even after the twist, it's a great movie. And giant hit, nominated for Best Picture. Huge thing. Made him a giant name.
That was
He had
his
actually
first-
made 2 movies before that.
No kidding. What two
Not
movies? Do you know offhand?
Don't know.
Okay.
I think one had Rosie O'Donnell in it. Like he was just like
A League of Their Own.
He was just a working director, and that's
The
Penny Marshall.
Flintstones.
That's
Both of those are Rosie O'Donnell.
I know, but Penny Marshall directed the first one. I don't know who directed Flintstones. I bet it was somebody. I bet
it was
I bet
somebody, too.
I'd know though. Sixth Sense puts him on the map. Makes his movies events immediately. Unbreakable. Love it.
You know,
Because it's a comic movie.
I didn't see either twist coming.
Which one?
Either movie. The twist that Bruce Willis was dead the whole time, or that
I did.
Bruce Willis was a
see the first
superhero.
one coming only because I saw it late, and people were on the radio. I remember driving to work, and people were on the radio going, "You won't believe this twist! It's the best twist ever!" And I was like, and I thought in my head, "What's the best twist ever?" And the only thing I know about the movie is from the commercial that he sees dead people. Are like, well, Bruce Willis is dead. So like, it's not. I didn't guess it while watching the movie, and the movie actually does a really good job hiding it because it opens with him getting shot. So it should be obvious, but they connect that character, which is Donnie Wahlberg, looking unrecognizable. They connect that Donnie Wahlberg
mostly
character
because I don't know what he looks like.
to the Haley Joel Osment character because they had the same affliction. So they make the story about him helping this kid, and the only reason you can buy the only reason they showed you that opening was because of the bad path this guy went down. So they do a really good job tying it in a way that hides it from you. So like it's like a really great, legitimately great movie. Then he makes Unbreakable, which I love.
Because it's a comic book movie in a
Yep.
time when comic book movies weren't happening.
Then he makes Signs, which is a giant hit.
That's the
People
one.
like
That's where I
90% of it.
dropped. I
Yeah.
could not stand that movie.
They stop liking it by the end. And then we fall off a fucking cliff. Like
The Village?
Like John Lithgow in Cliffhanger. We fall off a fucking cliff. Because
Spoiler alert.
we get The Village, which is the beginning of the end for him. Because at that point, everyone's joking. Well, all his movies have a twist. What's the Shyamalan twist? And the joke was, what if they're in modern times? And that was the twist. So when the joke met the actual reality, he was in trouble. Now,
Yeah.
he actually gets away from twists a lot.
Signs was the last one I saw. So
Well, he gets away from twists a lot after that. But he has a decade of horrible movies. Lady in the Water. The Last Airbender.
oh, I heard about that one. Is the Lady in the Water the Lady in the Lake, and it's a King Arthur story? Did you ever see it?
No, it's like about a water nymph. Played by Bryce Dallas Howard, maybe.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Ron Howard's kid?
Yeah.
I like a Ron Howard kid. I don't know what that means, but I've seen her in a couple of movies and I like her.
She was in the Jurassic World movies.
That's probably why I know her from those movies.
And she directed some of the Star Wars TV shows, I think.
I had nowhere to go.
All right, I'm going to go back to my list then.
Yes.
He directed Lady in the Water, terrible. He directed The Happening, terrible. He directed The Last Airbender, terrible. He directed After Earth, terrible. It's a decade.
Ooh,
of just,
I forgot he did that.
Those are 4 brutal movies. And he's kind of like gone from, now some of them are still making money because his name still has value to people, but his creative stuff has fallen off a cliff. But then he made The Visit, a low budget movie that was actually really good.
I never saw that one. Was that where the kids go see their grandparents?
Yes, and it has a twist. It brings the twist back.
What a twist.
It has a great twist. It has
Chocolate vanilla is my preference.
It has a genuinely like scary twist in it, and I was like, "Oh, this is a good movie." And Catherine Hahn's in it. It's great. These are the things you need. A twist in Catherine Hahn is the things you need.
Chubby Checker's another good twist.
Mm-hmm. We've done that before. And then the next year he makes Split, and the twist in that one is it's a secret sequel to Unbreakable, and it's also a really great movie because James McAvoy's great. So he's got back-to-back creative peaks, but then he goes fucking off a cliff again because he drops the ball with Glass.
Yeah, Glass was pretty terrible.
Glass, and then Old I never saw.
Me neither.
It came and went and didn't make any mark. I know it made money, but like didn't do anything. But then I liked Knock at the Cabin. It's the fault of the advertisers
because that is I think the most recent one I've seen of his.
Most recent one I've seen too. Trap comes out this year, probably out by the time you listen to this. But nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. What did you say about that one?
Trap.
Yeah, you said that because the trailers look like it's a very exciting and fast-paced movie.
I don't know how he'll make it slow.
That was
but
you will.
I bet he will.
He 100% will. One thing he does not do is make a fast-paced movie.
No, the biggest problem that he has is he learned all the wrong lessons from The Sixth Sense. That movie,
what makes a good movie?
That movie is excellent cast. Toni Collette's in it. She's great. Haley Joel Osment's great. And kid actors are hard, but he's great in it. Bruce Willis is trying in that movie, so it's great. And it's the pacing, which is the Shyamalan consistent, works in a ghost story. He never made another ghost story. He just kept the same pacing for every fucking movie.
Is he still in all of his movies? Is he still trying to Hitchcock it up? Does he still give himself giant parts?
Hitchcock didn't take pages of dialogue. He's Tarantinoing himself.
Oh, yeah, Tarantino does that, too. Yes, does he still do it to all his movies?
I don't know if he does it to all of them, but the thing about Tarantino is he can only play Tarantino, whereas at least M. Night Shyamalan can just, like, he's never trying to take showy roles. He's like the doctor in The Sixth Sense, or he's the cab driver in The Happening or something like that. And he can play those roles. Like, it's not asking him, he's not asking himself to do a ton. Now, the one thing I know about Trap, though, and this is my sneaking suspicion about Trap, is that it is a trap for the audience. Because the movie's set at a concert.
Yes.
And a pop star's playing. And the pop star is played by his daughter, who's a musician. I think he's just tricking people into seeing a fucking lavishly produced concert that his daughter stars in.
Interesting.
And I obviously have not seen the movie.
Interesting.
But I'm going to promise you that it's a trick. And he's just going to make you watch like an hour-long performance while stuff happens that's with Josh Hartnett, but you get to hear her music the whole time, because I know she recorded like 14 new songs for it.
This sounds awful.
It does, but Pete, I respect the shit out of it.
If this turns out to be the case,
yes, if
it sounds awful enough to be real.
If that's what happens in Trap, and I can neither confirm nor deny because I'm stuck in 1986. If you spend an hour in Trap listening to his daughter sing, then yes, I believe that's a mistake. But I respect it because it's such a grift.
Okay, so a thumbs up. You're saying a thumbs up. Go listen to some pop star. Is it Hillary Duff? Why not?
Do you think his daughter is Hillary Duff?
Could be.
Could it be?
I don't know. How old is Josh Hartnett?
Josh Hartnett's like 40 something, I think.
How old's Hillary Duff?
72.
If there's time travel involved, and we've learned that time travel is a thing that happens to people, sometimes by accident.
No, I Shyamalan's an interesting one because
you know a surprising amount about him.
Well, for better or worse, he makes a lot of original movies.
Didn't he have one where he's in a devil in an elevator?
He produced it.
Oh, okay.
His name was so big that was, a thing that could happen then. Like M. Night Shyamalan Presents. It's a
Spike Lee joint.
Yeah. Devil. That's what it's called. I never saw that. But it's, the problem is his name is so associated with twists that you wait for twists. And his movies don't always have twists. Knock at the Cabin didn't have a twist. The trailers made damn sure you knew what was happening before it happened.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
I don't think... Split didn't have a twist. I mean, the twist of Split was that it was connected to the Unbreakable, but it had nothing to do with the plot of Split. Split's just a great movie. Glass didn't have a twist. The twist was it was shit. I don't think The Happening doesn't have a twist, unless you count Mark Wahlberg's a science teacher.
Now, did Mark Wahlberg come in because Donnie Wahlberg was not available?
Oh, he got to work with both Wahlbergs.
Right. I'm just realizing that now. But did he have a preference? He's like, hey, Donnie, what you doing? He's like, I'm running a hamburger joint now. I ain't got time to make movies.
I've seen both those movies, and Donnie Wahlberg was a better actor than Mark Wahlberg in the M. Night Shyamalan movies. Donnie Wahlberg's really good in this scene. But
he thinks they found a transformer.
Hey, I'm talking to plants. Why don't you leave us alone? How's your mother?
And go transform over here.
I think it's a transformer. Why does he have a lisp when we do it?
How is that better than Donnie Wahlberg? Donnie Wahlberg, was he one of the boy bands? Mm-hmm. Was he in NSYNC?
Nope.
Was he a Backstreet Boy?
Nope.
Was he a Salt and Pepper?
Nope.
Was he a Spinderella?
Nope.
Was he the band Styx?
Let me give you some hints. Joey McIntyre, Jordan Knight. Those are the only two I know.
Is he related to M. Night?
Yes. He's going to sing a whole pop concert in the next movie, which actually would make sense because he actually is a singer. He was a new kid on the block, Pete.
Oh, that was the other one. Where was Joey Fatone?
That was NSYNC.
Oh, that was more recent than that.
It was, but it was still a long time ago.
Still farther away.
Yeah, New Kids on the Block are coming up soon.
They're coming up super soon.
You said what I said, but with more authority.
What is their song? They're the New Kids on the Block, and they sure like to rock all around the clock.
I think it's Hey Hey We're the Monkeys.
Ooh, that's a good one, too. People say they monkey around.
I wonder if all the monkeys are still alive back up time. We lost 3 of them by the time we left.
Oh, no.
I know. I was a big, you know this. I was a big Michael Nesmith fan.
Yeah, why were you such a big fan of Michael Nesmith?
Because I found
his mom invented liquid paper?
That's true. But I found it was his aunt. But I found
his mom was his aunt? Who was his real mom?
I might have had his mom. I don't know. I found over the course of time about 24 demos or alternate takes of songs that Mike Nesmith had written when he recorded the demo for him, or he recorded a first version. They went with somebody else like Davy Jones singing it. And I really enjoy his style. He's got like a nice country rock
Nesmith style with his little beanie hat.
You make fun of it all you want to.
I'm not making fun of it.
But I could get you to listen to some of those songs and you'll be like, holy shit, this is like way better than I expect.
Better than Peter Tork?
Oh, way better than Peter Tork.
Shut up. I'm a Peter Tork guy.
No. Michael Nesmith did not like Peter Tork.
Michael Nesmith was wrong.
He said they never got along.
Peter Tork did some Pizza Hut commercials in the 90s, I think.
They all did, except Mike Nesmith, but that was...
Because he's got that liquid paper money.
Because he had the liquid paper money. But he did come back after Davy Jones died and did tours with them for years. They did him with Ringo Starr.
Did they take his locker?
Ringo Starr said, I'm looking for my three pals, which is mean-spirited because one of them had died 7 or 8 years earlier. But then Mickey Dolenz and Davy Jones and Peter Tork pop up, and he's like, oh, wrong lads.
That's pretty funny. I like Ringo.
I like Ringo, too.
Ringo's a good guy. I think he's my favorite Beatle.
He is, I mean, it's unfair in 2 cases, by far the one that aged the best.
Oh, that's right.
Now, even...
Can't argue with that. That's science.
Even if you take to the time where they passed away. I mean, John Lennon was still a good-looking guy because he hadn't aged that much. But Ringo was a freaky, weird-looking dude who now looks good as an old man. And Paul McCartney was the cute boy who now looks like a freak. And John Lennon was just like a guy, and he looked fine. And then George Harrison, he got old. Tell me Ringo didn't improve with age.
I gotta say, I've never paid that much attention to how they look.
But you're thinking about it now.
I'm trying desperately. I don't know what Paul McCartney... The only Paul McCartney I remember recently
which Paul, though? The original Paul or the new Paul they replaced him with because Paul died?
The new one that they replaced him with when Paul died.
Yes.
And when he was on The Simpsons. When Lisa went vegan. That was the last time I remember seeing him.
He was also on BoJack Horseman once, and it's one of the best jokes ever because they have a cake and a celebrity's going to pop out of it, and then they forget about it the whole episode, and at the end, Paul McCartney pops out, and his voice he's just like, why is I waiting that cake so long? And just walks off, and it actually was Paul McCartney, and it's one of the funniest cameos ever because they got Paul McCartney on, and they gave him nothing to do as a joke.
Was Michael Jackson on The Simpsons in that one episode from like season 1 or 2?
He's one of a couple characters or actors that didn't get credited as themselves. And I think the other one was Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman played Lisa's teacher in one of those early episodes that's famous. And the one that they go to the museum with Homer and they can pay whatever they want. And Homer just laughs and laughs and laughs.
That's right.
But Dustin Hoffman's that voice, and he wasn't credited as Dustin Hoffman, and Michael Jackson was the escaped mental patient. He didn't get credited as Michael Jackson.
Yes. All right, good to know. We didn't have the internet to back up these facts.
I assume not for the same reasons.
No, they went to put him in a mental hospital, right?
Why? No. Why would? Maybe I don't know why Dustin Hoffman would need anonymity.
Dustin Hoffman would need anonymity? That's a good question. What has he done? I like Dustin Hoffman.
Defibrillating here.
Maybe that's what it is that I like about Dustin Hoffman.
Last thing I saw him, Talk Soup.
That was a fine show. That was Greg Kinnear days.
It was not. It was actually not Greg Kinnear days.
Yeah, it was.
It was not. It was the other guy.
What other guy?
The guy that replaced him with like the spot in his hair he talked to.
No,
yes,
it was
definitely
not.
Was. It was 100% not Greg Kinnear.
It was John. No, it was
John something. But it was definitely him. That
John
did Dustin
Cryer.
No, it was Dustin Hoffman did that bit with that other guy.
No,
yes.
He did it with Greg Kinnear.
No, 100% you're wrong.
It's going to be a long wait until we can prove which one of us is right. I feel there's a couple of these things that we're just waiting for the time to come where we'll get an answer.
I'm confident about 2 things. Number 1, he did it with not Greg Kinnear. And number 2, I think the trap's going to be an hour of having to listen to his daughter sing songs. I bet she's fine at it, but also that's the whole trick of the movie is to make you watch it.
I'm confident about 2 things. how bad I am at math. And, well, I guess that's it, Brian. I guess that's what I'm confident about.
That's genuinely funny, Pete.
I don't know why it's funny. It's what I know.
You did it. You made a math joke.
Not on purpose.
You didn't get it.
Hey, I got a math joke for you. Why was 10 mad at 7?
Last time,
I feel like we did this before.
yes,
That's my math joke.
because 7 was a registered 6 offender.
No, because 7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
6 was
why
mad at 7.
I don't appreciate your jokes because whatever I do, you do the opposite. You asked me one time what Nick Cage's last name was, and I said Coppola, and you said no, it's Cage. And if I just said Cage, you just said Coppola.
Well, you know what? I respond to you with a Cage's dozen derails a lot of my well-researched and painstakingly gleaned facts and trivia questions. So,
I gotta tell you,
buttons.
coming up with Cage's dozen is the greatest thing that ever happened to me because it gets me out of a lot of jams. A Cage's dozen of jams, I would say. All right, so you somehow prefer Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 to the original classic masterpiece.
You somehow have just keep talking about the first one all these many years.
50 of them.
50.
Well, at this point in time, many less of them.
What did they have? Oh, you know what? I got my credit check, and
It's only like 12 years ago where we are.
This movie is so awesome as a credit check that they don't even need any credits. The only thing that's important is that Shiner Beer gets a special thanks.
This fun set.
I'm guessing so. Not fun like they had to hire security to take care of their completion services kind of tent, but it sounds like a set that was pretty cool. Shiner Beer gets a nod. That was it. Oh, and it said it was a canon film. So if you think any of it can be like written out or written over, no, it's real. You have to accept that part 2 is canon.
You know the history of canon films, right?
It's things you shoot out at enemies.
I was hoping it would be like Napoleon. They shoot. There was that famous thing that happened in the Napoleon movie that was it Ridley Scott made, where I don't know if it was Ridley Scott, whoever it was, and he fires cannons at the. Did
he hire new ones? Capitalist overlord.
He fires cannons at the pyramids, and historians are like, "That never happened." He's like, "I'm making a history book." That's like,
well, yes. That's canon, but this is canon, so you can't rewrite that these are all fun people.
If you don't know the history of canon films, I suggest, if you're listening to this uptime, to look it up, because it's one of the wilder stories you'll ever see. They just had they just would announce like 30 new movies a year. They'd make like 10 of them. They were all trash. This is about as
the
good
rare
as it got.
exception.
This is about as good as it got, to be honest. They might have been Masters of the Universe, too.
A Dolph Lundgren classic, Courtney Cox.
Any final thoughts on trying to sell me that this is better than the original?
I don't feel that I have to. The problem isn't on me. The burden is not upon me.
Oh, you've reversed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre conversation.
You are
where everyone in the world tells you it's good, and then it's our responsibility to sell you when you're the outlier. And now you think I'm the outlier on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I've admitted is a fun movie. I don't think it's good.
It's not just good. It's the fact that you don't call it good is what boggles my mind.
Pete, it's a revenge plot where the character getting revenge is in the movie the least.
Yes.
His journey is barely a part of the movie.
Because in this movie, we know what the good stuff is. We're not going to get, look what your brother did to the door for 1 minute. We got to follow this boring. Like, Dennis Hopper's great.
Yeah.
They kind of took it like when they gave in Godzilla versus Kong, where they gave the humans like hijinks to get up to. That's what you want in your revenge story. When you've got the family that eats people and have metal plates in their heads and enter cook-offs.
I enjoy all the aspects you're bringing up, but it's a mess of a movie. From a simple plot wise, it's the movie's Lefty getting revenge on the family.
Yeah, that's like a subplot. That's just happening.
But they need a female lead, so they have to create a whole device that makes no sense to get her involved in the thing.
The story is about the family.
That's the problem. This is the problem. The story.
It's not a problem.
The story.
The strength
is not about the family. The movie's about the family. That's why there's a disconnect between the story and the movie.
No, let me play this out for you. Act 1,
he's getting up.
You get to see the family.
Oh, he's got a chainsaw. Oh, he's got a fake face on his head. I don't know where he got that from.
Oh, that's the best act.
He's doing a good job playing this out, though.
That was Act 2, right?
Oh, no.
as a face. But no, honestly, it was about the family, the story and the movie. You need the female because she's up to no good. She's trying to play that tape on the air. You can't do that. You can't ruin their good. Right now, they're just an urban myth, really. The police aren't taking them seriously.
That's true.
The police are just enjoying their delicious chili. Mm-hmm. And then you get him.
He was like a Gus Fring before there was Gus Fring, where his food is so good, even though it's tainted with evil and dirt, that the police look the other way and they think he's a good guy. This Drayton.
Gus Fring, was he the meth guy?
Yeah, but he also was
Bad?
the chicken guy, and he gave a lot of money to the police. So the police really looked up to him as an upstanding citizen while he was doing all this stuff.
Hermanos.
So,
yes.
So they stole from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This is the original Gustavo Fring.
That was too bad because I kind of like that Breaking Bad show. But all right, you know what? You take from the greats.
Yes, you take from the best.
Still, yeah. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery,
and it's a good one to steal from because nobody saw it.
Yes, well, I know it's a shame. That's why it has such a bad reputation because no one watched it. More people need to see this movie. But yes, to my original point, it was about the family.
Got the face back on.
She's the bad guy. She's
Stretch.
Stretch is 100%. What's she doing? Why is she not minding her own business? She's got to get all involved for what?
Well, Lefty uses her.
Yeah. But she was involved in the first place. She heard about him. She sought him out. She went running after him.
Because she heard a murder on live TV.
What she heard,
on radio.
What I thought was two jerk boys getting what they had coming to them for not leaving people alone who are just driving around in their chainsaws trying to make chili.
Are you from Texas?
No, I'm not a fan of Texas. Which is weird that I like I'm a fan, maybe because they kill Texans.
They do kill Texans.
Yeah, so maybe I'm...
Although, do we know that these guys... Yeah, they were going to college there, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Or high school. That was unclear, but I know that they're dead. And I know that they were first prize. That's that veal, because they were young. That veal chili you hear about. That's the right answer.
All right, well, good reenactment. I guess you're right. This is the best Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie ever made.
Case solved.
You win. Case solved by the case solvers.
Case solved by the case solvers. All right. I like it.
Joe Hill and one of the other few that we had were Michael Jackson and Freddy Krueger. We had a bunch of them.
We're good. We're so good that, oh man, I should write a book. And I'm going to make a movie. You're not going to steal my script this time like you did last time.
I'll tell you, if you want to make the movie the way you like it, have a story and make the movie about completely different characters.
That's a twist for you. That's my M. Night move.
That's your M. Night Shyamalan twist.
That's my M. Night move. And then I knock the camera over and say this movie is over.
That's definitely how you're going to end it.
Uh-huh.
And when the camera's on its side, you'll be seen doing the chainsaw dance of victory. I do like how it bookends. The first movie ends with the sad chainsaw dance of defeat.
Yes.
And this one is
the victorious chainsaw dance. Do they do the chainsaw dance at the end of every one of these Texas movies?
No, I don't believe they do.
Oh, that's dumb.
But I would have liked it fundamentally better she must have not wanted to come back, had, instead of Stretch, the character actually been him using Sally and putting her back in the danger. And then she could have, because she doesn't fight back at all in the first one, if that was her doing the dance of victory at the end, that would have been amazing. And it would have been much more interesting for him to be using the person who was psychologically abused like this to get revenge on. I know you need her kind of get the revenge too. You know what I mean? Whereas like if it was just him because Franklin got murdered and he's going to find them and he's going to use the thing that they would actually come for, I think that's more interesting and a better payoff to the characters.
That is interesting.
And maybe she just didn't want to come back. Maybe they just didn't think it was strong enough to just have it be that Franklin was dead. They needed her to be insane too, so that way there was two people affected by it, and he's going to get revenge for both of them. I get it. I just think of that iconic dance at the end of the first one, and I'm picturing Sally Hardesty doing it at the end of the second one, and I'm like, that's the end of the movie.
The problem is, because it is interesting, but I think the problem is it sounds like a whole bunch of movie that would be not about the family, which is clearly the best part of the movie.
I disagree. I think you take less movie away from the family then, because instead of having to introduce a whole new character and a whole new world and a new job and create this bullshit about listening to this tape, it's much simpler, clean to put Sally Hardesty back in their midst.
No.
And a horrible thing for him to do.
Oh, yeah, no.
And it's horrible when he does it to Stretch. It's much more interesting if he does it to Sally again.
But I don't really care about any of them. I just don't. See, now you're trying to make these side characters interesting. I just want to see Godzilla and King Kong break things.
They're the side characters. These are the main characters.
They're side characters.
This is where you're confused.
I think
the
this
movie
is-
gave you too much side boob, and now you don't realize there's a nipple on the other side.
I don't think you know what you're talking
I don't
about.
think you like your life.
I don't want your life. I've never seen that movie. You wouldn't last a day on the creek.
You've never seen that movie, but you have that reference from the other movie ready to go every time.
That's the one I got.
Pete,
What the fuck?
Kitty, what are you doing here?
How did you
Time
get
travel.
here? What?
Time travel.
She can time travel? Did you know this?
All women can time travel.
Is that true?
Well, it explains a lot.
Huh.
Look, the other one left. I need you to get home. I'm sick of taking care of the kids. You need to get home and get your shit together. I don't even know what you're doing here.
What
Why
other
are you
one?
here?
What other one?
The other one.
The other me?
Yeah, it left.
Future Pete screwed you again?
Is he handsome? Is he as handsome as me?
He's got more hair.
Got more hair.
You didn't get a haircut in that timeline.
I don't like that, Pete. I don't like.
No, it's just more hair on top of his head that he actually has. Like, he doesn't have a bald spot.
Kitty, first
I
off,
wanted him to stay, but he's gone. So now I need you to come back.
that sounds like a you and him problem, and it has nothing to do with me. And second off, what is Nick Cage up to?
He's dead.
Oh no. Is that true?
Yeah. Anyway, Sam and Fred keep asking for you, and they're asking for the other Pete too, but now he's gone.
How did Nick Cage die?
I can't remember.
Was he
just
saving
kinda, like,
people?
He got crushed by a dinosaur skull or something somehow.
You know what, Pete? It's going to be okay. We're going to warn him, and we'll save him.
We can't mess with time.
Seriously? Still?
All right. I gotta go back to work. My mom's watching the kids. I'm gonna have to call your mom for help.
She's
At
still
this
alive,
rate.
huh?
Yeah, she's still alive, of course. This is punishment for you taking off. I hope you know that.
I think she might have killed Nick Cage.
What's the point of anything anymore? Why? Thanks for stopping by.
Just get your ass home.
You know what? We probably should have asked her how to time travel.
I've always known how to time travel, Brian.
What are you talking about?
The last time we recorded Uptime, we were talking about Jeffrey Jones, and
Of
then
course.
and of course we were, and then we said 3 movies together at the same time from 1986, starring Jeffrey Jones.
And that's all it took?
That's all it takes. Is apparently you say things 3 times. I don't know why women have access to this secret, but that's all it took. But you know what? It's been fun back here. They have malls. They have Teddy Ruxpins. They have Wheaties boxes with Olympic people that I don't remember the names of.
It was Pete Rose, not an Olympian.
Yeah, he was. He was the champion of betting.
Okay, so all we have to do is say 3 movies in 2024. We can go home.
Yeah, that's it.
Well,
But
this should be easy, though. We covered Lisa Frankenstein. We went and saw Arcadian. How hard can it be to come up with the 3rd movie?
well, we need it, Brian. But what's the
Well, I mean,
point?
it'll take just minutes.
Right. What's the point? My Nick news right now.
Pete, we're going to go back. Now that we know how to time travel, we're going to go save Nicolas Cage.
If he's dead,
And then we're going to
What's
steal the
the point?
Declaration of Independence.
the last Nick news I have, Brian,
That is new Nick news. You got
is
to be
that-
honest.
that is new Nick news. That's Trump's mind. Because luckily, all I had was that Nickelodeon's coming out with Double Dare soon.
Well, Pete, I really want to get home because it's an election year and I've been looking forward to voting for Joe Biden, and we have to get back.
Okay, fine, we'll go, and we're gonna save Nick Cage.
Okay, let's
All right.
do it. Let's save Nick Cage. Off
All
mic.
right.
Off mic.
Sounds
See you
good to
next
me.
week. Actually, next time we talk to you will be in 2024. It's going to take like 2 minutes to come up with another movie in 2024. So we'll see you in 2024.
When did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 come out?
86, where we've been living for the last 8 months.
Uh-oh.